All right, we're gonna take a look at what's been happening with Hunter Biden during his interview with Channel 5. This was yesterday. Hunter Biden says Joe Su use of Ambien fueled his disastrous Trump debate as he explains how to cook crack in a wild interview. Oh wow. Uh, Hunter Biden blamed the sleep aid Ambien for his father's disastrous presidential debate performance, which became a turning point in the 2024 campaign. Wait, what? Why would you give him Ambien before his... Huh? Why would you give him Ambien before his campaign or his... What? Are you saying you gave him Ambien before his, like... right, for his, like, interviews and shit? It's like, why would you do that? Well, I hope not. Or right when he was doing debates and shit? What were you doing? What? Did you make him go to sleep on debates on purpose? The younger Biden sat down for a 3-hour-long interview with the YouTuber Andrew Callahan, which was released Monday, the anniversary of former President Biden's decision to quit his re-election campaign and endorse the Vice President Kamala Harris. Oh shit, was I muted? uh, and that Biden also talked extensively about his own drug use and sit down, including how he learned how to make his own crack cocaine. Ah, yes. I know exactly what happened in that debate. Biden said he flew around the world. He's 81 years old. He's tired. They gave him Ambien to be able to sleep, and he gets up on the stage and looks like a deer in the headline. Uh, then the the then president blamed his lousy June 27th, 2024 performance on a cold, though had spent several days at Camp David resting up ahead of the Atlanta showdown with new President Donald Trump. It wasn't enough to quiet the calls for him to drop out. What the fuck? Get out. The former first son remained bitter about what happened to his father, though told Callahan he was able to remain sober the whole time. Biden said he was just over 6 years sober after spending about 3 years after the 2015 death of brother Bo in the pits of addiction to alcohol and crack cocaine. This is like a PSA if you want to completely, utterly fuck up your life, Biden said. Crack cocaine will do the job. The only difference between crack cocaine and cocaine is sodium bicarbonate and water and heat. Why are you... Motherfuckers telling you basically how to make fucking crack, dude. You can go to your neighborhood convenience store, just get it. Anyway, I don't want to tell people how to make crack cocaine, but it literally is a mayonnaise jar of cocaine and baking. You need to. He needs to shut the fuck up. Jesus. Biden said the high is extremely intense on crack cocaine. It's vastly, vastly different. Do you know why? Do you know why people make jokes about cutting drugs with baking soda? It's because baking soda is actually needed sometimes for drugs. So that's why. Because of the chemical composition of baking soda. I feel really reluctant to kind of have some euphoric discussion. I know you're not asking me to do that. Have some euphoric discussion about crack cocaine. He continued with Callahan saying that he was not. I don't want to have the experience of some euphoric recall. That's how powerful crack cocaine is. Biden admitted. Yeah, I guess that crack is a hell of a drug, yeah. In the words of Tyrone Biggums, yeah. The former first son said the crack had a dirty reputation, but it's the exact opposite. When you make crack, what you're doing is you're burning off all the impurities. Dude, you need to shut up. He explained. Biden said his addiction in earnest started in 2016 when he left an alcohol recovery program in AA recovery program over a row with staff and found his former dealer bicycles in a downtown Washington D.C. park who sold him crack. Oh shit! He went back to his old dealer. What's this?
The only difference between crack cocaine and cocaine is sodium bicarbonate and water and heat. Literally,
That's it.
That's it.
And those things are pretty much free.
You can go to your neighborhood convenience store and just
Notice how that's it. That's like free. She just.
anyway, I don't want to tell people how to make crack cocaine, but it literally is a mayonnaise jar, cocaine, and baking soda.
How different is the experience?
It's vastly, vastly different. And like for real, I feel really reluctant to kind of have some euphoric discussion. I know you're not asking me to do that, but have some euphoric discussion about crack cocaine.
I think this might be kind of the opposite here.
Okay, no, it's the exact opposite. I'm saying I don't want to have the experience of some euphoric recall. That's how powerful crack cocaine is. People think of crack as being dirty. It's the exact opposite. When you make crack, what you're doing is you're burning off all the impurities so that it combines with the sodium bicarbonate.
From DC.
No, that's Marion Barry.
Barry.
Marion Barry. You know what? I actually smoked crack with Marion Barry. I swear to God.
Jesus.
I was in Georgetown, and he used to go to a place right next to the
Yeah,
guards.
smoke crack. I used to
And
go
it
to
was
Georgetown.
There was a junior when that happened, but he used to come there and drink like late, and I would be in there, and he'd go to the bathroom. But anyway.
But like the big.
Anyways, you can see he's talking to the fucking the mayor, Barry. Now there are periods where I would stop. I would try to get help or half try, and get help to or appease people in my life and say that I was getting help. And so I did a whole host of things to try and pull myself out of it. I did try. He remembered. And people who would come in and out of my web and try and help me. And my level of toxicity would drag them down until they would disappear. And then people that would come into my life that were nothing but blood-sucking leeches that would literally saw vulnerability and latch on and drain me literally of everything I had. You mean the crack whores and people you were selling to and shit? From emotional well-being to my physical well-being to my bank account, and that was the ebb and flow for almost 3 years until I met Melissa. He continued, referencing his wife Melissa Cohen. Cohen and Biden had a whirlwind romance in 2019, marrying shortly after they met after the South African filmmaker helping him get sober. Prior to that, Biden had a whirlwind romance. Oh, wait. I moved down. Prior to that, Biden recalled a particularly scary moment when he was found in a hotel swimming pool floating face down. Someone had given me something, he recalled, and this person saved me, and I woke up after 12 hours where they just held me. My whole point of this story is that this person put themselves at an enormous risk, he continued, explaining that if he had overdosed and died, the individual could have been blamed. They saved my life for nothing other than to be human. Because every single other person that was there, literally, they stole my shoes, stole my clothes, the former first son recalled. He added that he thought it was hypocritical that Republicans have used his struggle with addiction to score political points when so many of them have been touched by it too. Well, I mean, duh, you fucking idiot. That's why you don't fucking get into. You know what they do? They always do this shit. You know that. Why didn't you see that coming? What? How'd you do it in the first place? First style teen prank sweeping America that tricks victims into thinking their home is being invaded. What the fuck? That's shady as fuck. That's not a good idea to do that, by the way. There's been a case where someone was pranking a house, and the person fucking shot through the door and fucking hit the kid. It's like, oh shit. I've gotten over the fact that former Rep Matt Gaetz or Eric Trump is going to use this story as another, data pointer, like how fucked up his Hunter Biden is. And I don't give a shit anymore. Biden said. Oh man. Oh boy. Well, he just basically nuked his political career. Here's the George Clooney stuff. Here we go.
Fuck him. Fuck him. Fuck him and everybody around him. I don't have to be fucking nice. Number one, I agree with Quentin Tarantino. Fucking George Clooney is not a fucking actor. He is a fucking I don't know what he is. He's a brand. And by the way, and God bless him. You know what? He supposedly treats his friends really well. You know what I mean? Buys them things, and he's got a really great place in Lake Como, and he's great friends with Barack Obama. Fuck you. What do you have to do with fucking anything? Why do I have to fucking listen to you? What right do you have to step on a man who's given 52 years of his fucking life to the service of this country and decide that you, George Clooney, are going to take out basically a full-page ad in the fucking New York Times to undermine the president at a time in which, by the way, what do people care about the most? Why do you think that the Republicans have an advantage over us? Because they're unified. They will go along with anything. I wasn't asking anybody to go along with anything. I was asking people to go along with this.
Even if they have some grievances.
In my lifetime.
But they probably air out their grievances
I'm including the Reagan
through.
Administration. I'm including
whereas
every
the
administration in
Democrats,
my lifetime. We have gotten
when
more
they air
done
out
for
their
the agenda
grievances,
of the
they're
things
asking
that
for
your generation
unrealistic
and my generation cared about than any president in history.
And like they get
We
all
didn't get it all
fucking
done,
whiny and bitchy
but
about
more
it.
than anybody else, with the slimmest majority ever. And everybody said that there's no way that he's ever going to be able to do that. And you know what George Clooney did? Because he sat down, I guess, because he was like given the blessing by the Obama team or the Obama people and whoever else, and David Axelrod and whoever the fuck else, is to go, okay, yeah, you know what? We are going to insert our judgment over yours. Me and James Carville, who hasn't run a race in 40 fucking years, and David Axelrod,
oh, by the way,
why
isn't he
in his political life, and that was Barack Obama. And
notice how everyone's just like, oh yeah, Biden has
and
cancer.
David Clough,
oh well.
And all of these guys, and the
What?
Pod Save
What do you
America
mean,
guys,
oh
who
well?
were junior fucking
Motherfucker had
speechwriters
cancer during his fucking
on
presidency.
Barack Obama's
That's fucking
Senate
weird.
staff, who have been
Isn't
dining
that?
out on
That's
a
shady as fuck.
relationship with him for years, making
Well, why is
millions of
people
dollars.
just like, oh,
the
no, it's
Anita
fine.
Dunns of the world,
You
who's
fucking
made 40,
weirdos. You
50
guys are shady
million
as fuck. I
dollars
don't
off the
trust you
Democratic
people
Party.
anymore.
They're all going to insert their judgment over a
I don't
man
trust
who
anyone
has
anymore.
figured
Fuck
out,
that shit.
unlike anybody else, how to get elected to the United States Senate over 7 times, how to pass more legislation than any president in history, how to have a better midterm election than anybody in history, and how to garner more votes than any president that has ever run. And they're going to replace their judgment for his.
So I can remember covering the 2020 election about a year later, and I think it was the first Stop the Steal rally at Reading Terminal Market in Philadelphia, and I saw what I thought was a BLM flag, Black Lives Matter, but it actually said
go to
Biden's
Channel
laptop
5
matters.
Oh, yeah.
And so I asked the guy,
or Channel
what the
5,
hell does that mean?
The full,
and he just sort of kept yelling the slogan over
write
and
the
over
full
again.
video
Couldn't get
and
much out
watch
of him.
it if you want.
So for those who don't know,
Right.
what happened with that?
Well, I don't know.
'Cause
You
it's
tell
the
me.
full
And I really mean
interview.
that sincerely. Like, you'll have a lot of people that will come up with something about the laptop. But I always say to anybody, I mean, you're steeped in the, and just through your work, the right-wing narrative around it. And my question to anybody that is keeping an open mind is, what is it that you think the laptop proves, or what you call the laptop? So everybody has a laptop. So when they say Hunter Biden's laptop, what is it that they're talking about? Do you know?
Well, I know that your entire iCloud was connected to it, all of your personal text messages, private photos, all that kind of stuff.
Like everybody's laptop.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so-
you left it
Well,
with a
I mean,
repair
during
shop
that
owner
time,
who,
people
for some
wanted to
reason,
know what
gave it
you
to
were
Rudy Giuliani.
doing with
Not exactly sure how that's
business
legal. He
because you were
distributed it to the press,
caught
particularly I
with
think the New York
drugs,
Post
doing
was
weird
involved in the
business
spearheading
dealings
of this
and shit.
mass
So
dissemination
they were
of
trying
your
to figure
private
out what you
materials.
had,
From what
if
it
you
seemed
had
like,
any
it was
information
a
on
lot
the
of
laptop.
private text between you and your friends, family. Your entire sort of private life was on there.
Yeah.
Yes.
And again, so everybody has a laptop. Everybody has a
Well,
cloud.
I'm assuming not.
No, not everybody has a laptop. Everybody has a digital life. Almost everybody has a digital life. Everybody has a digital life,
That
pretty
makes
much.
sense.
And that includes voicemails and pictures and text messages and emails and location data and, everything. Everybody, you do, everybody that is here right now. By whatever means, they got my digital footprint going back decades. Over 20 years. Again, I ask anybody, you're steeped
So,
in this.
digital
and this
footprint
isn't a
of you
challenging
doing
question, but
drug
it kind of makes
deals?
my point. What
And you do
does my laptop
right?
prove
Yeah.
about
that's the
criminality or
Oh,
anything?
well, I
other than
have.
what I had already readily admitted to, completely transparent about, is my drug addiction.
Well, I'm trying to remember specifically what the most radical conspiracies that I heard. I think that a lot of people are concerned or curious about various international business dealings.
So I served on the board of well over a dozen different entities, way more than that, including major global organizations. I was the vice chairman of the board of the National Passenger Rail Corporation, which is otherwise known as Amtrak. It's the largest passenger rail company in the world, which is more than just a rail company. It's also a real estate company. It's also a commercial real estate company. It's a residential real estate company. And it is probably the largest owners of property in urban metro centers of any organization in the country, and a huge employer and a multi-billion-dollar business. And
Well,
I was
yeah.
the chairman of the corporate governance
That's a fucking
committee on that board, and
transportation
vice chairman,
service.
and elected chairman, and then
Right,
resigned
infrastructure.
before the Obama administration took. So I told you before, I was the chairman of the board of the UN World Food Program, responsible for sustaining a budget above $2 billion a year for the World Food Program and the contribution the United States makes to the global relief effort as it relates to hunger. I was chairman of the board of the Center for National Policy. I was on the board of Catholic Charities. I was on the board of Jesuit Volunteer Corps Northwest. I was on the board. I mean, I keep going down the list of board memberships that I had. And a year and a half before
Basically,
my
he was
dad
just a
to leave
spokesperson
office,
helping them
I was approached by a Ukrainian natural gas company
move stuff,
through one of their board members
move assets, basically.
to consider being of assistance to a company that was being threatened by the Russian aggression
And he was the poster
invasion
child,
of
or
Crimea
poster boy.
and
He was
the
the
incursions
face,
into Donetsk and the Donbass.
making speeches
and I took them on as a
doing
client
things.
because I was a partner of counsel, at Boyce Schiller Flexner, which was a major national global law firm, in which I focused on corporate governance and commercial law. And I represented them for about a 3-month period of time. And through that representation, they asked if I would join the board, which I did. The day that I joined the board, I announced it and sent out a press release of the reasons why that I was joining the board, which came and went and did not become an issue until Rudy Giuliani, along with a guy named Andrei Derkach and a number of others that have all been convicted of treason for being Russian agents, came up with a conspiracy that Joe Biden was involved in a bribery scheme.
The FBI arrested the person who offered those allegations for falsifying his testimony to the FBI.
For over a 10-year period of time, I worked with a group of people that had a cross-border private equity firm inside of China, and I had a business
Yeah, we
that was
wanted to
based
know what you
around,
were doing with China because you allowed them to do
advisory
weird
for multinational global funds, private equity funds, doing infrastructure work and others. And I was asked to join a fund, the startup inside of China that was
inside of
had
China.
headquarters in Beijing, Shanghai, Hong
Never mind,
Kong,
okay. He
and
was,
New York.
helping inside
and,
of China.
I had a 10%
Oh, no,
equity
he was
stake in
helping
that,
New
of
York.
which I
He was in
paid,
New York. The Chinese are in
made
New York. You
cut
heard him.
my equity contribution in that, just like every other member of that.
Federal officials are looking at his foreign business dealings, including his ties to a Chinese energy company.
And those are my two foreign business dealings.
Yeah, because I was kind of looking into it, and it seems like the conspiracy is that through those connections that you had to these, I guess, foreign governments, they were using you to leverage pressure onto your dad
Again,
somehow.
like what?
Well, that's the thing, is that when you're looking
And
for...
I'm not putting you on the spot. And I guess my whole point is that I asked these same questions to the House Oversight Committee. I've been investigated by the House Oversight Committee, the House Ways and Means Committee, the House Judiciary Committee, the Senate Judiciary Committee, the Senate Oversight Committee, and
all the committees.
I have been investigated by Maine Justice, the U.S. Attorney in Pittsburgh, the U.S. Attorney in Philadelphia, the U.S. Attorney in District of Columbia, the U.S. Attorney in Los Angeles, the U.S. Attorney in Delaware, the Special Counsel's Office. Not one single person has ever accused me of a crime based upon anything that was in or discovered as it relates to my laptop. Not one. Not a single thing about my laptop. So this whole idea that there was some conspiracy to cover up the laptop, they uncovered 20 years unvarnished of every single communication that I've ever had over a phone or by text.
Yeah, I don't even care about the
email
laptop.
or
I just want the
computer in any
information the
digital way.
laptop had.
There's not one
which
communication
they obviously
that you can even remotely say is evidence
disseminated
of a
and
crime.
given out.
Not one. Not
in
one
little
time.
pieces.
Not one communication. I would challenge anybody to show one instance other than me seeking drugs for myself, for my own personal use.
Yes.
Okay. Or
You doing
women,
your
as it
crack
relates to
use with
people that were in the
whores
drug
and
trade
stuff.
that I would see.
Yeah, the prostitute. There it is.
One single instance in which anyone has accused anyone, used any one of those communications as evidence of any kind of crime at all. Now, take that. Okay, that's it. So you say Hunter Biden's laptop. What? By the way, I'm talking out there to people that I would assume are, or want to be on my side, or at least want to be on the side that I'm a part of. What about Hunter Biden's laptop? How about this? Well, it was a cover-up. Twitter took it down, and it was a big cover-up. And you have Matt Taibbi and all these guys that say, yeah, it was that Twitter took it down and Facebook took it down.
It seems that big tech only censors media companies, only censors stories when they're negative
I don't even
towards
think
the
I listened to
Biden
Fox
campaign.
News.
You know why they
when
took it
said
down?
that.
Because what they did was they published naked photos of me and women, which is in violation of their terms, and which, by the way, is a criminal act under the new federal law that was passed by accredited to Melania Trump, with universal support in the House and the Senate. That's why they took it down. It wasn't a cover-up. And then you had 100 former national security officials come out and say, this looks like it could be a Russian op. Because it is. Because in the course of an election, what happens? You have Rudy Giuliani in conjunction with Steve Bannon, in conjunction with Miles Gao, who's in jail, who is, I don't know how many other counts of fraud and bribery, and is a Chinese national, was working directly with Steve Bannon, and a number of others, including Bernie Kerik, who, God rest his soul, is dead, that basically came out and said, we have Hunter Biden's laptop. And the big reveal about Hunter Biden's laptop was that I was a crack addict. But, unfortunately for them, I had already admitted that I was a crack addict in the pages of the New Yorker, and did a, 13,000-word article with Adam Entos, in which I told everything about myself and my own struggles. And they just simply conflated the two. They said, well, Joe Biden fired the prosecutor in Ukraine to benefit his son. Completely debunked. Person that said that I took a bribe for that happens to be a guy named Shokin, who is in prison for lying to the FBI on a form FD 1023. In prison, admitted to it, admitted that he was enticed into making it up on behalf of the Trump team side. The only other guy that came up and said that there was illegal and wrongdoing and bribery was a guy named Gal Luft, who was later convicted or an abstentia, both by the EU and as a arrest warrant out for him by Interpol and the United States as an arms dealer, selling Chinese weapons to the Iranians and to the Libyans. And so, again, I ask, so Hunter Biden's laptop, so what? So what?
It sounds like it was just became political cannon fodder to, make that election cycle as colorful as possible.
How do you defend yourself against it, though? So if somebody says...
Well, let's start with the fact that your private photos were leaked by somebody that was supposed to be repairing your laptop.
Some people will go, well, hey, wait a second, aren't you just leafing through someone else's private property?
It can be perceived that way, but again, he hired...
Yeah, I thought he was... Yeah, as someone who's like an employee of a place and then they take a peek through your laptop even though they're only supposed to repair it. I mean, they shouldn't be delving too much into your personal information, right? But for whatever reason, this guy found information.
Me to do that.
Number one, I literally have no memory of ever dropping my laptop off there, okay? This guy swears that I did, okay? Regardless, to your point, okay? This is Wilmington. That laptop repair shop is in Trolley Square. I had family that owned a business that was literally the opposite side of them. There are literally within a stone's throw of where that person is in a very, very small community, at least a dozen people directly related to my family. Every night he used to go to 2 or 3 different bars in which he could have literally turned and talked to anyone and said, do you know how to get in touch with Hunter?
You're talking about the laptop
repair shop guy. Mm-hmm. Somehow that doesn't happen. But somehow this guy, who's supposed to be repairing a laptop, he says, decides what he's going to do is he's going to review the material, and what he sees is he thinks is evidence of a crime.
McIsaac says he also found documents that show payments made to Hunter Biden from a Ukrainian energy company that have become the center of a political firestorm.
More emails from Hunter Biden's laptop keep surfacing.
I want to know where Hunter Biden's laptop is.
Let's get the truth. What's in this laptop?
Now, again, the evidence he thinks is of a crime is my drug use. He thinks it's embarrassing.
No,
and all of a sudden,
I don't care about
who ends
your
up
drug
with my
use.
laptop?
I want to know if you sold our fucking country out.
In that moment in time, it had more to gain.
That's all I care about.
Than anyone else.
I got the hard drive
and
legally,
it's probably
completely legal.
true that Biden probably did some fucking. Well, I mean, there's a lot of
Rudy Giuliani.
The fucking border was open. Yeah, you let a lot of fucking foreign invaders in.
Is that possible? Is that just happen to happen?
You think that somebody that knows you may have been paid off to orchestrate some kind of data leak?
I don't know. And at this point, it's like, who cares? So then I get in an argument about, like, okay, well, who took the laptop? How did the laptop disseminate it? Was there really a laptop? Because there really isn't, by the way. Here's another anomaly of this. There really isn't a laptop. There's a hard drive. And then there's an amalgamation of a hard drive. There's an original hard drive that he says he has, and he argues with everybody else who says that there are like 400 gigabytes more that were added onto that from the dark web.
You never got a laptop before you wrote that story, did you?
That's correct.
You got a hard drive.
Hard drive.
And you received that hard drive from Rudy Giuliani, right?
Yep.
Who had been openly associating with an agent of Russian
this is another
intelligence in the
weird.
months
See, this is
leading up
why
to
I
your
hate
story.
our
You agree with
government.
that, right?
Because I don't know why they have to
guess.
do all these
So you
weird
think the repair
political
shop story's made
games.
up?
I think I don't know, but all I know is that
Right,
whatever
when
this
they could just
amalgamation of
easily
stuff
not
is
do this weird
came
game
from a
shit.
whole host of
Right.
different sources.
Yeah.
Because you literally you can look at it
know that
now
he's
and the
done
stuff
some
that like,
shady shit, yet you do
who
these
thinks
weird
this is
games.
right? Who thinks it's right that every picture that you've ever taken,
Whoa.
the ones that you would
Whoa,
be
take it
embarrassed by
easy.
and the ones that you would be proud of, should be on a website controlled by a guy that is a Christo-fascist fucking incel that lives in Indiana or Illinois. I forget which one.
Let's hope Indiana, because it's worse.
But really, who comes up with a 435-page dossier about all the crimes that it details, but literally it just is it is an entire fiction that makes money off of. Who thinks that's right? And so, but again, I get these discussions where, well, their laptop really doesn't exist, but what is it? Like, you go down these rabbit holes, and you do exactly what they say. As long as they say laptop loud enough, often enough, you automatically, and Hunter Biden, crack cocaine, and, you know, here's the picture. And here he is shirtless, smoking crack in a bathtub.
I just want
you know, I keep flashing that over and over again. And I say Hunter Biden, laptop.
And you probably did with
Ukraine,
your fucking dad.
China, Ukraine, China, Hunter Biden, laptop, bird flu.
Especially
like,
with all the private
keep
company
doing that
deals
over
you were
and over and over again.
helping with and whatnot. I mean, you were obviously helping in their country, but at the same time, you could have helped
bears any resemblance to reality.
Facilitate
the reality
some
is this.
private industry businesses
ran
in
into legal
our
trouble.
country, too. I was like, yeah, no, I don't trust that shit.
There's this evil symbiosis between money and power. So what do? If I said to you, look, I'm going to tell you a story from the past. It's about a minority group of people that live in a country. It's constitutional democracy that has had its problems in the past, but it's an economic powerhouse, and it is the center of learning, it's the center of culture, it has a deep and rich history. But there is a minority group that those in power that came into power through democratically elected means are going to target this minority group because they're stealing all the jobs.
Today our cities are flooded with illegal aliens. Americans are being squeezed out of the labor force and their jobs are taken.
They're not originally citizens. They're not the original people.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you.
On top of that, they're spreading disease and distrust. And they're criminals.
He pointed
and
at
they can be violent. They're eating your dogs and cats.
He was pointing at
They're
God's
eating the
chosen,
dogs,
right.
the people that came in. They're eating the cats.
And what we're
They're
going to do
eating
is
the
we're going to
cats.
send mass
They're
men
eating
to
the
this
dogs.
marginalized group.
They're eating
and
the
we are
pigeons.
going to take them, put them on planes, put them on buses, put them on
not the
trains, and
barbs,
send them to
too.
a prison camp in a foreign country. What am I describing right then? Am I describing Germany? Or am I describing the United States right now? Because I will tell you what, if you think that the prison in El Salvador is
that's
not a fucking
actually
concentration camp,
the Western
you're out of your
countries right
fucking mind. Tell me anybody that's returning from there. You saw those pictures.
Wait, what do you
think
mean?
anybody's getting
El
out of there?
Salvador's clean now.
This is
Ever
a
since they
rehabilitation center?
put
You
all
think-
the
I've been to
fucking
those
gang
places in South
leaders and
Sudan
gang
around
members in there?
those areas. You think anybody's getting out of those South Sudan prisons? Ever? Ever? Out of your fucking mind. That's a death camp. They're done. They're over. And if you're not dead, you would want to be dead if you were in that prison.
Wait, did he just say that? We literally give people in our court right, the American court system, we give people life sentences. Is that not a death sentence already? Like, what? What kind of logic is that? Right?
We just sent a bunch of people with
we still give people the death penalty too in our country. That's the death sentence as well. Come on, it's like, what is? Stop this.
due process. Some of them, most likely, legally in the United States. Like, I think of that poor guy that they said was a gang member because he had a tattoo on his arm that was a makeup artist. And they say he's MS-13. He literally a makeup artist that fled, I think, I'm making it up, Venezuela, because of a dictator, and came to the United States and sought asylum, received asylum, and they literally take this poor guy and they pick him up, and he has a family, and he has friends, and he has an entire community, and they give him no due process, and they put him on a plane with maybe a bunch of other criminals and send him to that fucking hellscape. He's dead, and nobody gives a shit. And I mean it. Like, we sit here and we talk about the one guy,
Garcia's
clear legal path to
get like
get
a
him
nice
back.
cell.
What about all those other
he
people?
got like
Am I
TV
not supposed
too.
to feel for someone? Am I going to be like all these Democrats say?
He was eating
you
well
have to
too,
talk
man.
about and realize that people are really
getting
upset
a lot of
about
good
illegal
drinks.
immigration. Fuck you. How do you think your hotel room gets cleaned? How do you think you got food on your fucking table? Who do you think washes your dishes? Who do you think does your fucking garden? Who do you think is here by the fucking sheer fucking just grit and will that they figured out a way to get?
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure most of those people who decided to take the legal route, they actually have legal documentation, right? They might be on visas, right? They're still legal until they're illegal until they break the until the day they break the law, right?
here because they thought that they could give themselves and their family a better
Don't
chance.
break the law.
And he's
And then everything's
somehow
okay.
convinced all of us that these people are the fucking criminals. White men in America are 45 more.
Also, Trump never made it out. Trump was in advocacy of the H-1B visas. And then, right, we had Elon Musk who did not want the H-1B visas. Right.
Times likely to commit a fucking violent crime than an immigrant.
had
And the media
issues with
says,
it.
well, you got David Axelrod and, you know, Rahm
just
fucking
like,
Emanuel. Was so fucking smart, Rahm Emanuel. And said, we got to understand that these
To
people
me,
are really mad.
you shouldn't
And
be
we
fucking
got to appeal to these white voters.
people to
Rahm,
do-
the only people that
right.
fucking appealed to
Other
those fucking white voters was Joe
importing
Biden,
work.
81 years old. And he got
For the
81
sake
million
of-
votes.
right,
and he
for
did because
the sake
not
of
because he appeased
having
their
cheap-
fucking
right, cheap
Trumpian
work,
sense,
cheap
but
labor.
because he challenged it. And he said, you can be an 81-year-old Catholic from fucking
Yeah, that's
Scranton
literally
that
why
doesn't
they use the
understand it, but
H-1B
still has
visa
empathy for
systems.
transgender people
Or
and
the-
immigrants.
that's why
Then
the
nobody
visa
said,
system
oh,
is there.
Joe Biden's going to turn us into a socialist state, no matter
Literally.
how much they said it. But these guys think that we need to run away from all values in order for us to lead.
Who has legal doc? You need to be more specific.
So your kind of most prolific bender was during the Trump era, between 2016 and 2020, which I think is important to clarify. It is not when your father was in the White House.
Exactly. 100% not. There's this conflation that people have. I mean, you know, I think they're opening up an investigation to cocaine that was found in a cubby outside the West Wing of the White House.
I think it was Don Jr.?
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about old White House?
Yeah, when my dad was there.
Oh, so they just got to blame you automatically.
Yeah, I mean, they're literally going to do an FBI, another congressional investigation, because they've convinced themselves that it had to be me, that there was a little tiny.
Wait.
Here's my point of even bringing
Wait,
it.
isn't that is that the one where they found it on the in the White House? Right, that the recent one. Oh, they found some white powder residue in the White House. Wait, they're gonna blame that one on you? I thought they were gonna blame it on fucking the president. Oh, did she? No, they're blaming it on him. Holy shit!
It up is that no. I have been clean and sober since June of 2019, and I have not touched a drop of alcohol or a drug, and I'm incredibly, incredibly proud of that.
And why would you bring cocaine to the White House?
Why would I bring cocaine to the White House, stick it into a cubby outside the Situation Room in the West Wing when I wasn't there? Anyway, who the fuck knows?
And politicians, I mean, they do blow, right?
I testified before the House Oversight Judiciary.
Oh, there was actually some politicians recently that were caught in their car fucking smoking like crack or meth or some shit. And they were like drugged out or something. And the cops were checking in on. Oh shit.
And Ways and Means Committee. It was a whole big family shindig on the Republican side. All of them showed up, from Marjorie Taylor Greene to Lauren Boebert to Matt Gaetz to, you know, they're all sitting there. Now, none of them had the guts, except for a couple at the very end, to ask me any questions. At one point in the 7 hours that I was being deposed, in which, by the way, I demanded that they do it in public, and they refused, and the reason is because they're fucking morons. Matt Gaetz, of all people, was giving me shit about my drug use. I said, really? All the people.
Yeah, all the politicians always do this
about
game
my addiction,
where
my
they always
I said, how many
right. The Democrats
of
do it, the Republicans do it. Everyone does it.
Had your own experience.
It's because
with
once
alcoholism
you
and
guys
addiction.
start doing it,
Because
no
I
one's
knew
gonna give up on
at
doing
least
it.
4 or 5 people in that room on the Republican side that were in recovery, and I knew of 3 that have been accused credibly of being drug users, and I knew that every single one of them had somebody in their family that was
I think Pelosi
absolutely
is an
facing
alcoholic.
a serious drug problem.
I think there might be a lack of understanding there because they think that cocaine is fundamentally different from crack cocaine.
I don't know what they know. Do you know what I mean?
Well, because they think cocaine, Scarface, very cool. Yeah. Crack cocaine, they think The Wire.
Oh, in that sense, oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like they don't know how similar the chemical compounds are.
Well, the only difference between crack cocaine and cocaine is sodium bicarbonate and water and heat. Literally.
That's it?
That's it.
And those things are pretty much free if you go to like a science store.
This is free. You can go to your neighborhood convenience store and just get. Anyway, I don't want to tell people how to make crack cocaine, but it literally is a mayonnaise jar, cocaine, and baking soda.
How different is the experience?
It's vastly different. Like, for real, I feel really reluctant to kind of have some euphoric discussion. I know you're not asking me to do that, but have some euphoric discussion about crack cocaine.
I think this might be kind of the opposite here.
Okay, no, it's the exact opposite. I'm saying I don't want to have the experience of some euphoric recall. That's how powerful crack cocaine is. Does crack cocaine make you act any differently? No. Is it safer than alcohol? Probably. People think of crack as being dirty. It's the exact opposite.
Well, I mean, back in the day, they were using it as a
combined with the sodium bicarbonate, which makes it smokable.
As a drug.
All of these actors and people in the past that talked about they had a problem with cocaine and freebasing. They were smoking crack.
So straw on the stove is the same thing.
Not exactly, but close to it. But it's a little bit different. But anyway, my point about it,
you need to get rid of a cold.
Is true. Is that there's a thing about crack that is really insidious, and what it is that anytime. I think one of the reasons that they believe that smoking cigarettes is so addictive is because it combines three really important things. It's habit forming, there's an oral fixation, and there is a ritual combined with it. And so the idea of hand to mouth is a habit and a fixation that we learn very early, even as children. With a pacifier, with a spoon, with your thumb,
sucking your thumb,
breastfeeding. Okay, so really, so I don't want to get into the psychology of it because I'm no expert, but I do know this, is that you combine with that ignition, combustion, and then you combine the ritual. You have your cigarette in the morning, you have a cigarette when you get out of the car, you have your cigarette with your coffee. Crack is that on steroids. It's over and over. There's ritual to it. There's a ritualized part of it. The combination of all of those addictive behaviors together.
The way he says
like
ritual,
really
it's I use habit. Don't say ritual, because it makes it sound like some spiritual bullshit, right? No, it's just fucking human habit, right?
The drug in and of itself is a more immediate euphoric
human behavioral habit
connected
of just,
to it than,
doing something
in my experience,
constantly.
cocaine alone.
And you're right, your body just getting used to it. And then your body craves it.
Well, the only difference between crack cocaine and cocaine is sodium bicarbonate and water and heat. Literally, that's it.
And those things are pretty much free if you go to like a science store.
It's okay. There you have it. I'll leave it in the description. But yeah, go look at Channel 5 YouTube if you want to go watch the full interview. It's 3 hours long. We only watched parts of it because I did not want to watch all of it. That's a long time. But yeah, there you go.